And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Thank you. Great to be with you here, Abraham. There's been a theme in my life of searching for connection, which is part of this beautiful experience.
It's everything we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've often heard we talk a lot about meditation as one way to really connect
It's
and
the
quieten
best
our
way.
minds. Yeah. But I feel that there are, and I suppose what I wanted to explore was
A less effective way?
other ways, and perhaps that's what we mean by meditation. Like, for example, during a couple of breaks, I've often gone outside, just stood on the edge of the ship, and just been completely open to what might call to me. And in doing so, I've often found myself having an amazing spiritual, uplifting experience where I come back here and just feel great, feel at peace, feel like I've lifted my vibration quite a lot. And so I guess had a bit of a question around that and meditation. And
Well, we would rather see you in a state of appreciation really than in a state of meditation, because in either case there's no resistance, and in an appreciation there's a full awareness of what you are appreciating. So we think of meditation as a tool to allow you to release thoughts that are hindering you from a higher vibration. And so once you are easily there, in other words, there are people who don't want to meditate, and the reason that they don't want to meditate is because they have a difficult time quieting their mind. But if we were standing in their physical shoes, we'd stay at it until we had accomplished quieting our mind. That's why we were playing with you a little bit, because it is the most effective tool that we know of for releasing resistance and therefore allowing the higher vibration. For example, let's go back to a practical application. Let's say that you are conversing with or even thinking about someone who's important to you, and you are feeling negative thoughts about them as you are thinking that. Well, that just means that you're not under the influence of source while you're thinking about them. And so that just means that the influence that you are offering to them is not one that is necessarily beneficial. But this is the point that we really want to make. We're not asking you to get tuned in so that your positive expectation of someone will change their behavior, because it's not your job to change someone else's behavior. We're asking you to get tuned in so that your observation of them or their interaction of them, we're asking you to affect your own point of attraction, not someone else's behavior. And there's a big difference. If you are caring about tending to your own point of attraction rather than the behavior of something, it's a much simpler thing to do. So in the example that you have offered us, since you were clearly already under the influence of pure positive energy, and then you were inspired to go out onto the deck and observe something, so that being under the influence of that, what you experienced was a very good feeling experience. That's because your point of attraction was already in that place where what you were attracting was the idea to do this, and then that experience, and then that experience. We say to you, in the simplest of terms, you create your own reality, and the reason you do is because you constantly offer a vibration to which the law of attraction is responding. And so everything that we are offering with every conversation that we have is about you deliberately controlling your own point of attraction. And so when you put it in those terms, you're not trying to control your mate or your lover or your children or anyone. You're not trying to control their behavior. You are simply wanting to control your point of attraction, which means if you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and they're in your experience, you've attracted them when they are in vibrational harmonics with you, which means you're going to have a nice experience together. It really is that simple. Control your point of attraction. That's what this is all about. So if somebody gets into your experience and they are behaving just like you expected them to do, well, you're controlling your own point of attraction, but you're not doing it deliberately. Your expectation controls your point of attraction. And where are you getting your expectation? From source or from someplace else? So what you just described to us was you received inspiration which affected you in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think to wrap up the practical end of that for me, or what I'm getting from what you're saying, is I was inspired, I went out, but I was also very open. And in this case,
well, don't those go together? I
Yes.
was inspired because I was open. I was open to inspiration, and so I was inspired to go, and then the momentum of that just continued.
It
Yes?
did. And I didn't care about anyone else. I just cared about what was coming and kept following that and kept following that and kept following that. And
Well, under
it was
those
that path
conditions,
that opened
anyone
up.
that would come to you in a situation like that, it would just be more of the same. When that really is your point of attraction, that's when the whale jumps. That's when you see something that you've been wanting to see. That's when you connect with thoughts and with nature and with others in a way that is pleasing to you. A point of attraction that is pleasing to you. Yeah, yeah.
And what you said about expectation before really rung a bell of truth for me, in that that's probably where my challenge sometimes is in interaction with family members, is having an expectation.
They trained you into
That's
your
right.
expectation of them, and vice versa. You co-created this expectation, this thing that you've got between you, and trying to change that expectation is not an easy thing to do. But donning the perspective of your inner being who's been practicing a different expectation is easy to do. Which do you think would be easier? To step out of your influence of source and into some other influence and come across negative expectation of a person and know you're doing it and then try to change it right in the middle of that momentum, or to be in that place of neutrality by utilizing some method that you've discovered, tuning to the expectation that your inner being has about the world, about this person, about anything and everything, and now have a rendezvous with them, and your point of attraction having already been accomplished before they come into your experience. So if they're having a horrible, no good, very bad moment in time, the law of attraction would not even bring them into your experience. But if you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and they come into your experience, there's a high probability that they are ready to have a good co-creative experience with you. And if you are not having a good co-creative experience with them, one of two things has happened. Oh, only one thing has happened. You're not tuned to who you really are before it happened. If you are not having a good experience with someone, you have not tuned yourself to your inner being first. Period. That's why you want to give them all the credit for what went wrong. Think about those experiences where something goes wrong, and so you get an idea, well, I'll fix it in this way. And so you do that, and then it gets worse, and then you think, well, now I'll fix it in this way. And then it gets worse, and you think, now I'll fix it in this way. This is the stuff from which expectations are born. Life trains you. The results of your vibration gives you manifestations, and then you let those manifestations train you to more expectations. Wow. But there's another way, isn't there? Tune in to the expectations of someone who really knows, who has the big picture, who knows what you've lived and knows what you've asked for and knows how it all fits together. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we
Really
can be
good.
true lovers of life.
Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.